So today I'll be presenting on the deployment of RedCAP locally using XAMPP. So this is just some definitions, just to cut back on some of the, such as RedCAP, what is about. But my focus here is on local serving of XAMPP, setting up it locally. So why use a local server? Okay, so for this deployment, we have been emphasizing on the use of local servers to host our data entry tools like RedCap, which for this local server, they are often used for testing, development, and offline access and better control of data security and privacy. Okay, so partly why we deploy it locally, we choose to do that is to avoid sensitive data from being publicly accessible. So before I go ahead to share with you how I went about the deployment, I would also like to start with sharing some terms which we are going to come across as we go on with the presentation. So so I just took my time to bring these concepts and then share what they represent. So what is a server? So here we can say server is basically a computer that we respond to requests from other computers. So basically, a server is just a computer, although there's more to that, but for now, this is enough to know what we're dealing with. Then also a server also provides hosting for websites, storing of data, and transferring of files from one computer to another. Okay, here now, using what makes a computer a server. So now, since we say a server is just a computer, definitely we can all say all computers can act as a server. So although to make this possible, there are softwares that are installed on these computers to make this possible. So one of it is Apache is a server, and then we have SQL. This is a database server that are also these servers they share information through some certain protocols. For example, we have HTTP, which is a hypertext transfer protocol, and HTTPS, which is a secure form of the HTTP. Okay? So this is a more detail on that. Okay, so initially the first protocols, these two protocols, however, they are still in use today, although mostly browsers now don't allow you to access HTTP because they are not really that secure. Although when you access such locally, can still do that locally, even online, but it gives you a warning that, okay, you are trying to access a site that is unencrypted. So it tries to give you that warning. So now also, let's move on to IPs, domains, localhost, and requests. Okay. So IP is just a way to identify a computer in a network. So if you have computers that are sharing a network, a way you can communicate with each computer. These computers are assigned an IP address. So it just looks like what you can see, the 127. So they are just numeric values. Okay, so we also have this 127.0.0.1 and local hosts. Okay, so this is a way to refer to the computer itself. That's the current system. If you put this in the browser, it just takes you send the request back to the system. So if there's a server, it runs. So the browser sends the request to the server, and the server responds with content depending on the requests that was made. So tools that turns a computer into a server. So we have an Apache, which I discussed earlier. So Apache is a web host server for hosting websites. So once installed on a system, it allows the system to serve websites. If it's installed online on the web online on a web host, you are able to it listens to requests sent from the browser. So we also have MySQL. It's also a database server for managing database. We also have PHP. This is a language which and there's also a it's also a program that processes PHP web application. Okay, PHP applications built using PHP. Sorry. Then we also have PHP It's also a web tool for managing MySQL database. Types of server and examples. So we have web server. These are examples of it. We have Apache Nginx, Gonicon. Nginx and Apache, they are actually general purpose server. You can actually serve multiple web application built different using different programming languages. Gonicon is kind of more of dedicated to programs that are built using Python, which is a programming language. We also have database, stores structured data, for example, MariaDB and Postgres. Also have file transfer protocol, FTP servers. So if a server is installed to manage file, a server is a computer is set up to manage file sharing of files. Okay, so you can install this we also have Google. Google also has an email server which can be used even not just the regular Gmail, you can actually set your applications to make use of Google's email server to share, to send emails. Okay. So our web applications may require multiple services. Okay. So we already discussed about web servers such as Apache and database. So for this context, RedCAP needs all these three and maybe even more to be able to function properly. Okay, so web servers may require other services. Web application require other services apart from web server. May have it may require also email server to be able to perform things like resetting of passwords and other things like that. Okay, so local server versus web hosting. So local servers, they are just servers that are set up locally. So they may not have access to, may not be accessible online. We also have web hosting. These are where websites are hosted. So there are providers who provide these web hosting services. They usually come with multiple services like email, FTP servers. So whatever, once you subscribe, you get all this available to you, and makes your make able to take your budget into production. Yes, so we also have local servers are better in managing sensitivity. Yes, just like I mentioned earlier. Particularly these are what we plan to do with RedCAP. So next is XAMPP. A XAMPP is a application, is a software which comes bundled with some of these servers, like database server and Apache, which is a web server. So once you install on your system, you can be able to run server locally on your system. Okay, provides control panel to manage. Yeah. So it's simple. It doesn't require installing these individual servers. So they come bundled together for ease of use. So now this is just a screenshot that shows you some process where you can take to install the XAMPP on your system. So once you install, you can see something like this. It's where you can start the servers on your system. Apache for the web server and the MySQL for managing your database. So once so once you have this the XAMPP installed and have started you started the server, you can be able to access maybe a website you host on the using XAMPP through your browser. Can use the IP address like I discussed earlier, which we just refer back to your system where you hosted your website. So we also have PHP which is a tool for managing database, and the link to access it once you activated the SQL server, you can see localhost/phpMyAdmin. Okay, so now we go to the installation consideration when you want to host RedCap. We have the PHP version compatibility. So depending on the RedCap version you're trying to install, you have to check the requirement to know if your XAMPP meets this requirement. So maybe you might be using an old XAMPP, so you might need to update that. Okay, so now we also have how to install the RedCap, connect it to XAMPP so that you can be able to serve it locally. So these are some of the steps. Placing the RedCap, so is going to come like a zip file with the program source code, which is built using PHP. So you have to move it to a certain folder and also set up the database. You can see the link below. There's a guide there that shows you details of how this can be set up. So you can see here, this is you can see the XAMPP here, the XAMPP folder, which is accessible from your drive C. And when you get to htdocs, this is where anything you place in the folder will be accessible from your browser. So this is where you copy your XAMPP folder from the zip file tool. And also, you can access your database management tool like this PHP the image by the right, where you can create your database and also account to access the database. You can see this is a field where you put in the details of your database and user account, while the other image on the right-hand side shows the setup, some of the things if you created, after you created your database and the account, there's a file provided by the RedCap where you put this configuration. You can see host, local host, database, password, and the rest down there. So you fill it up and then you move on to the installation. Once you're done, you see this is how you access it. Remember, I talked about a folder called htdocs. So this is where you move your folder to, your RedCap folder gotten from your zip file. Once you do that, you can access your RedCap after following all the processes. So there are also alternative alternative software like XAMPP. We have the WAMP and LAMP. We also have Laragon. I haven't used that too, but I've seen it before. Um, Now, there's another thing you need to consider when you want to run your RedCap locally, which is your email setup. So this is crucial because some of the things you need to be able to do requires you to have connection to an email server. So there are different services, even in RedCap. There are easy way to install this. You can see SendGrid. If you have an account with SendGrid, it will give you the credentials you can provide in RedCap. That way, RedCap uses it to connect to the server. Common challenges. Okay, so now these are some of the common challenges running XAMPP on your locally. So there's what we call an port, which sometimes when these servers they made use of port is dedicated. They once they I don't know how to say this. Once a application is using a certain port, another application cannot use that port, and this causes conflict. So we might maybe experience such when installing or running XAMPP. That's usually not the case, but it does happen. So, okay, solving accessibility limitations. So, when it comes to access, okay, fine, you have hosted your RedCap locally, and you can able to access it on your system. But there may be the case where you want it to be available or accessible on other devices too. So these tools, these platforms like Tailscale, which is more of like a VPN, two computers have to be installed. Tailscale have to be installed onto for them to communicate, and then you will be able to expose your locally hosted RedCap on another device. Ngrok is also another means to do that, and Cloudflare. Cloudflare requires you have a domain name to configure. That way your RedCap is even accessible online, even despite it's hosted locally. Next, accessing RedCap on other devices. Okay, so now same network. Okay, maybe in a health facility where this RedCap is hosted, there's already a setup for on a network where computers are usually communicate with each other. So you can just set this up on one of the systems and get the IP address of that system, and you can access your RedCap on all the remaining systems. Another way is also remote access, which is online through these applications, these platforms I explained earlier. Mobile phones, you can also achieve this with a mobile phone. Okay. If you on your hotspot on your phone and your system connects to it, and your system is hosting the RedCap, then you can actually access RedCap on your phone. So if your hotspot, other devices are connected to it too, you can access that. You just need to know the IP address of your system, which can be even gotten from when you go check your Wi-Fi connection. Okay, so the IPs can be found there. So once you put that on the browser, on any device, you can access your RedCap. Okay, RedCap mobile app access. Okay, so RedCap also comes with a mobile app which allows you to enter data offline, and then once you are have access online, you can send these data to the server, which is your computer. Okay, so there are requirements for actually setting that up. The RedCAP mobile app, it requires HTTPS to be configured. So when your sorry, your RedCap server is hosted on your computer. So this it doesn't really work securely. So if you want to be able to access your RedCap through your mobile app, you have to be able to find a way to make it secure, the connection. Okay, so after you do that, you can also request for a token from your server and host your local host. Okay, let me see. Sorry. Okay, so this is just basically saying the same thing as the top. You need to make sure your RedCap is accessible securely online. So we also have a making RedCap. So this is how we can go about it if you want to be able to access your RedCap server on your mobile RedCap mobile app. Can make use of these platforms as I discussed earlier. There's some also a configuration you need to do on your RedCap to use a domain instead of a local host, which is a local host. Then get at installation code and initiation code. This is how you set up your server on your mobile phone. You just have to get the code from the server and then put it in the code then on the mobile app, and you are able to connect successfully. So there are also some security concerns and tips, which is where we have and don't expose XAMPP publicly without making it secure by using an SSL certificate. We also have an authentication control. So you have to be able to have set up user accounts and give them roles to be able to kind of restrict them for what they shouldn't access. Firewalls. And also set up your firewalls to somehow regulate how your server can be accessed by other computers. So, okay, you can use these secure services like Cloudflare and VPN to do that. So, summary, local hosts, local hosting is great for development. XAMPP is powerful but has its limits, like we have showed earlier. XAMPP doesn't come with email servers, so you have to set that up. Then, if you want to be able to use email on your RedCap, tools like ngrok and Tailscale, this allows you to bridge your local server to the internet. So, thank you.